They gave her to the human as a joke. Now she's the mother of the future heir. The Zephyrian council chamber buzzed with cruel laughter as they dragged Lyra forward. Her silver scales caught the harsh artificial light, and her large violet eyes darted nervously between the towering figures surrounding her. She had always been different from her people, smaller, weaker, and worst of all, she possessed something the Zephyrians considered a fatal flaw: compassion. High Commander Vex leaned forward on his obsidian throne, his razor-sharp teeth gleaming in a predatory smile. "The human delegation sits in our waiting chambers," he announced to the assembled council. "They expect a proper diplomatic gift, as per the old treaties." More laughter rippled. Through the chamber, Lyra felt her heart sink. She knew what was coming. The humans had recently established contact with the Zephyrian Empire, seeking trade agreements and mutual defense pacts. Her people viewed them as soft, weak creatures barely worthy of notice. "Give them the defective one," Counselor Zara suggested with a dismissive wave, "the one who cries over wounded animals. She will amuse them briefly before they realize what worthless stock she represents." Lyra wanted to protest, to explain that her empathy was not a weakness, but the words died in her throat. Speaking out would only make things worse for her. The decision was made quickly and without ceremony. She was to be presented to the human ambassador as a gesture of goodwill, though everyone in the room understood it as an insult. Within hours, Lyra found herself aboard a human vessel called the Starfire. The ship was smaller than Zephyrian warships, but there was something about its design that spoke of efficiency rather than mere size. The corridors were well lit and clean, and she noticed something remarkable. There were plants growing in small alcoves along the walls. Real living plants, not the synthetic decorations her people preferred. Captain Amy Rodriguez greeted her personally, which shocked Lyra. The Zephyrian hierarchy would never allow such informality. The human woman was shorter than most Zephyrians, but carried herself with quiet confidence. Her dark eyes were kind, but alert, missing nothing. "Welcome aboard," the Starfire Captain Rodriguez said in carefully pronounced Zephyrian. "I hope you will find your quarters comfortable. We have done our best to accommodate your species' needs." Lyra expected to be thrown into some storage compartment or servant quarters. Instead, she was led to a spacious cabin with a large viewport showing the stars outside. The room had been equipped with a rest platform suited to her physiology, and the lighting could be adjusted to match Zephyrian preferences. The captain paused at the doorway. "If you need anything, please do not hesitate to ask. We want you to feel welcome here." Over the following days, Lyra discovered that her preconceptions about humans were completely wrong. The crew treated her with respect and genuine curiosity rather than the mixture of fear and disgust she was accustomed to from her own people. Dr. Kate Morgan, the ship's medical officer, was particularly kind, spending hours learning about Zephyrian biology, not to exploit weaknesses, but to better care for Lyra should she become ill. The turning point came when Lyra witnessed something that changed her understanding of humans forever. The Starfire received a distress call from a damaged transport ship. The vessel was from the Hegemony, a species that had been at war with Earth for decades. Captain Rodriguez did not hesitate to order a rescue mission. "But they are our enemies," Chief Navigator Lisa Parker protested. "They were carrying weapons to use against our colonies." Captain Rodriguez stood firm. "We do not abandon people in space regardless of politics. Those are civilian crew members and they need help." Lyra watched in amazement as the human crew risked their lives to save their former enemies. They rescued over 200 Hegemony, civilians including many children. The captain herself led several dangerous spacewalk missions to extract survivors from the damaged sections of the transport. That night, Lyra found Captain Rodriguez on the observation deck, staring out at the stars. The human looked tired but at peace with her decision. "Your people will think you weak for showing mercy," Lyra said quietly. Captain Rodriguez smiled. "Perhaps. But mercy is not weakness. It takes more strength to choose compassion when hatred would be easier." Those words echoed in Lyra's mind for weeks as the Starfire continued its journey. The humans did not see her as a diplomatic gift or a curiosity. They saw her as a person with her own thoughts, dreams, and value. The crew included her in their daily routines, asked her opinions, and listened when she spoke. Engineer Maya Chen taught her about human technology, which was less advanced than Zephyrian systems but incredibly adaptive and creative. Communications Officer Holly Davis shared stories about Earth, its diverse cultures, and the long struggle for peace among the human nations. Dr. Morgan introduced her to human art, music, and literature, opening worlds of beauty and emotion she had never imagined. Months passed, and Lyra found herself falling in love not just with one human but with humanity itself. Their capacity for growth, their willingness to admit mistakes and learn from them, their fierce protection of the innocent and vulnerable, everything her own people mocked as weakness, she now saw as incredible strength. The revelation came when they reached Earth. Lyra stood in the ship's observation lounge staring down at the blue and green world below. Captain Rodriguez joined her as she often did during quiet moments. "It's beautiful," Lyra whispered. The captain nodded. "It is. But its beauty comes from its diversity. Our planet nearly destroyed itself many times because different groups could not accept each other. Now we understand that our differences make us stronger." Lyra turned to study the human woman's face. "You really believe that I have to?" Captain Rodriguez replied. "Because the alternative is too terrible to consider." That night, alone in her quarters, Lyra made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. She sent a coded message not to the Zephyrian Council but to a small group of her people, who like her believed there had to be a better way. The message was simple but revolutionary. "I have found a people worth learning from. Come and see." The response came weeks later. 3 ships carrying Zephyrian dissidents, scientists, and philosophers who had long questioned their society's harsh ways. They came expecting to find Lyra broken and defeated by human weakness. Instead, they found her thriving, working alongside the crew as an unofficial cultural liaison, and having formed deep friendships with beings her people considered inferior. The visiting Zephyrians spent months aboard human vessels and on Earth itself. They witnessed human democracy in action, saw how humans cared for their elderly and sick, marveled at the way humans could disagree passionately about ideas while remaining friends. They watched humans risk everything to protect other species and saw the incredible art and music that flowed from human creativity. Most importantly, they saw how humans treated Lyra, not as a servant or a curiosity, but as an equal. Her insights were valued, her opinions sought, and her happiness considered important. When one of the visiting Zephyrians made a disparaging comment about her emotional nature, Captain Rodriguez herself stepped forward to defend her. "Lyra's capacity for empathy is not a flaw," she said firmly. "It's one of her greatest strengths. She understands things the rest of us miss, and her compassion has saved lives." The visiting Zephyrians returned home carrying stories that spread like wildfire through the hidden networks of dissidents and free thinkers. Lyra had become a symbol of something new, the possibility that strength could come through cooperation rather than domination. Years passed, and the relationship between humans and the growing Zephyrian reform movement deepened. Lyra became an official ambassador bridging 2 very different cultures. She worked tirelessly to show both species that they could learn from each other. The ultimate vindication came when the Zephyrian Empire faced its greatest crisis. A massive alien invasion threatened to destroy their homeworld. The traditional warrior culture that had seemed so superior proved inadequate against an enemy that fought with coordinated tactics and technological innovation. It was Lyra who convinced the human fleet to come to Zephyrian's aid, despite decades of condescension and insults. And it was the combined human-Zephyrian force using human tactical flexibility with Zephyrian raw power that turned the tide of battle. In the aftermath, as both species worked together to rebuild, High Commander Vex himself came to the Starfire to personally thank Captain Rodriguez and her crew. He also spoke privately with Lyra, offering a formal apology for the way she had been treated. "You were right," he admitted quietly. "Our people dismissed you as weak, but you have proven stronger than all of us. You saw potential where we saw only flaws." Lyra looked at the leader who had once mocked her and felt not anger but sadness for the opportunities lost to pride and prejudice. Perhaps she replied, but strength is not about being right. It is about being willing to grow. The story of Lyra and the humans spread throughout the galaxy, becoming legend. Different species told it in different ways, but the core message remained the same. True strength comes not from conquest, but from connection, not from dominance, but from understanding. And somewhere in the vast cosmos, other beings who had been cast aside for their differences heard the story and began to hope that they too might find a place where compassion was valued over cruelty, where diversity was celebrated rather than feared. Lyra never returned to the Zephyrian homeworld. Permanently, Earth had become her true home among people who valued her for who she was, rather